Not too long ago, I came home from work and I had a massive to-do list to do. One that was just not possible for me to complete in that day. I had to edit videos, I had to do outreach, I had to make my dinner, I had to get stuff ready for the next day, I had to learn sales. I had to learn how to get a really good service delivery. So I decided that the best thing to do is when I come straight back home from work was to eat and then get straight to work until I go to sleep. Now the problem with that was I had no real structure. I had a list of things that I needed to complete, but I had no structure of how I'm going to get these tasks done and what period of time, for example, that I need to do this in. And it was really common for me to be up till like 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning doing work sometimes, and then waking up at 7 in the morning ready to go to work, and I'd be absolutely exhausted. And the more I've done this and the more that I've worked around my 9 to 5 job, the more I've sort of realized how to manage my time better, but also to be as productive as possible in those periods of time that I do have. So how do I manage going to the gym, running a business, and working a 9 to 5 as a teacher, and how I don't have that passive lack of energy and I've always got energy to be able to complete tasks? Well, if you want to find out how I do that, then follow along with this video. So the first thing that I did was I became very intentional with the content that I would consume. I used to have a really bad habit of scrolling on TikTok, scrolling on Instagram, scrolling on YouTube Shorts. So I added some things onto my phone. It's called 1 Second. If you've never used the app before, really useful app. Essentially what it does is it delays your time in opening the app. So you'll click on the app, for example, TikTok, and then it will load up, but it won't actually load up because a screen blocker will come up ahead, and it will give you about 5-10 seconds to say to yourself, do you really want to open this app? And in those 5-10 seconds, I always think to myself, is this actually what I want to do? And 9 times out of 10, I close the app and carry on with the work that I'm doing. Another thing that's really helped me with being more productive, especially after work, is this. No, it's not a massive pint of Jaeger. It is, I believe, a 2.2 litre bottle of water. Now, this is a game changer because it saves me from having to go downstairs. And you might think like, oh, that's not a lot of time. Like, come on. But time that you're spent away from doing the deep work that you need to get done is time spent somewhere else, which isn't growing your business, for example. So having this here, filling this up before I come up and do the deep work, and when I come back from being out, or when I come back from the gym, or when I come back from work. Having this here is just such a game changer because I don't have to come out of my room at all. So another thing that I did was I prioritized focus over hours. I focused on making sure that my time spent in whatever task it wasn't spent as a duration or a period of time. So the next thing is focus that you've got and not getting distracted. Now there's tons of things that you can do for this, and one of the main things that I actually did was I actually changed my diet. A lot of people say this all online, and until you try it you really don't know if it works for you. But I massively reduced my carbs. I used to eat a lot of rice, I used to eat a lot of oats. I actually cut rice and oats out of my diet completely and replaced them with potatoes, and what that's done for me is it's almost kept my brain clearer. And as stupid as that sounds, you don't really know it until you do it, but not consuming carbs or reducing your carb amount and just getting it from fruit and veg is an absolute game changer. My focus and productivity when I work and do deep work tasks, especially in the morning and even in the evening after I come back from work as well, like, it is crazy. So there's another thing within that as well, is when you are focusing on a task, there'll be things that pop up in your head that you think you need to complete. My biggest piece of advice to you is write them down so you don't forget them, but then focus and carry on with the task at hand that you've got to do. Because if you get distracted from those things, you can spend 5, 10, 15, and before you know it, you spent an hour on something else that you shouldn't have done when you should be focusing your intentions on the task that you set yourself in the first place. Now, I've been guilty of this, and that's something I know I need to improve on. And there are ways to improve on that, but it takes time. You've got to reflect on it, and then you go back through and try and implement what you've reflected on to try and make it better. And lastly, arguably probably one of the most important things, and one of the things that I feel has been the best thing for me, is a timer. Set a timer for the task that you are doing. Whether that's, for example, doing outreach, set a timer for 4 hours. And in those 4 hours, you're going to do 4 hours of outreach. That's your non-negotiable. But within those 4 hours, if you get up and go to the toilet, you get up and go and get a snack, you get up and you're not on task, you pause that timer. Because you're doing 4 hours of outreach. You've said you're doing it, you've got to stick to it. And that's the most important thing. So those are a few things that I do when I get home from work to make sure that I am productive. And some of the stuff, to be honest with you, some of that stuff I do even before work as well. So it's just how you manage your time best. But one of the most important things is you need to remember, like with anything, take action.